Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Always Bayern Chelsea show. Today, as I record this one, January 29th, here giving you a reaction to Bayern Munich's disappointing 3-1 victory over Slovan Bratislava in the final day of the UCL group stages. Kind of weird to say that, huh? Disappointing victory, but as I get going here and I explain myself, I hope that you will listen and understand. But I also just wanted to, before we begin, point you once again to that YouTube channel, Always Bayern Chelsea, because we're really pumping out the video content now. For our normal show every week, we're doing the video episodes. This one will be a little bit different. It's just me here giving you my raw reaction. This is right after the match. We are almost at 100 subscribers, so please go ahead and subscribe there. I think that this one might have a little bit more of a negative tone to it. I usually try to be pretty positive about Bayern Munich, but their form as of late has been worrisome. And the results have been there for the most part, a slip up here and there, but just how they've looked doesn't look like they're a team that's necessarily built to go far in a tournament like the Champions League, for example, or face off against big teams like Leverkusen, even in the Bundesliga. So I think a lot of Bayern fans, at least the ones that I see, maybe the loudest ones, are negative as well about a lot of things, and my point is that's usually not me, but today I might kind of venture into that territory a little bit. So before I keep rambling, let me just start to talk about this match by doing what I usually do and listing off the lineup that Vincent Kompany went with here. And it was a little bit of a different lineup than we would have expected. It was a different formation, and it was seemingly a more attack-heavy lineup, but I think that was kind of because there were a lot of injuries on the back line, and Bayern really needed to score a lot of goals in this match to have a shot at moving up the UCL table. But as things stand right now, they are in 12th place and will be playing that playoff match to advance farther into the tournament against either Man City, English powerhouse Pep Guardiola side Manchester City, or Celtic. So the draw for that, I believe, is on Friday. So, stay tuned on Twitter, Always Bayche, YouTube. Will keep you posted everywhere. But yeah, before I went off track there talking about the table in the UCL, I did mention I was going to talk about the starting lineup, which I'll do now. Manuel Neuer was in between the sticks. I wasn't sure if he was going to play. He wasn't training this week at all. And with Sven Ulreich suspended for this one, and Daniel Peretz holding on to that bruised kidney, as well as Jonas Erbig, Bayern's new signing, not being eligible for this one yet. There was a chance that Max Schmidt, Bayern's, I believe, U19 or maybe it's U21 goalkeeper, was going to have to play, but that didn't happen. Neuer got the start. And the back line was kind of weird. So it was technically on paper, I believe, a 4-1-4-1 formation as opposed to Bayern's usual 4-2-3-1. But for a lot of the match, in possession, out of possession, the shape was very fluid and it wasn't exactly like that. So I'm going to give you what I think it was technically listed as and maybe talk a little bit about what the shape actually looked like. You had Stanisic, I believe, at left back, and Joshua Kimmich and Kim Min-jae as the center backs, and then Sacha Boey as the right back. I think some places had it listed as Stanisic being the center back, and then Kimmich and Boey as like the outside backs. But what really happened was essentially a back three of Stanisic, Kimmich, and Kim, and then Sacha Boey was very much involved with the attack. So that's kind of how that shape actually looked like. Alexander Pavlovic was the one technical midfielder, but Kimmich was acting as a midfielder also. Kimmich was doing everything, as he always does. So defense, offense, midfield, everything. Kimmich was everywhere. And then the attack was Leroy Sané on the right wing side, and this attack is 4 again, and then Kane obviously up top at 9. You had from left to right Leroy Sané, Michael Olise, Thomas Muller, Mathys Tel, and then like I said, Harry Kane up top. So an interesting lineup. I kind of liked it at first. Obviously, you want to see Jamal Musiala. I'm not sure if he still isn't fully fit or if Kompany was just resting him or what, but I did like this lineup. I loved that Tel got the start, and we're going to talk more about Mathys Tel because he is like a huge figure in the news right now, I guess, for Bayern Munich, the transfer news. So we'll get to that, I think, at the very end, but I was happy to see Tel get the start. I would have liked to see Musiala, obviously, although I thought Muller did very nice overall in this one. And then Sané and Olise. So clearly a very attack-minded lineup, as I said, but one thing that I was a little bit worried about, while I did think the lineup was going to be good enough to score more goals than it did, I was a little bit worried about the spacing, and it turned out that the spacing was a massive issue in this match. I actually texted Jim before the match, but having Sané, Olise, Muller, Tel, and Kane, those 5 players, if you're counting Kane, are all players who tend to crowd the box. We didn't really have a wider wing, and with a team like Slovan Bratislava, packing it in, you knew that they were going to pack it in. That's how you beat Bayern, and Bayern just can never break it down. It's been like that all year. So this is a little bit on Kompany and a little bit on the players as well, obviously, but having 5 guys that are just going to pack in and not a wider winger was kind of an interesting choice, I thought. And yeah, the spacing was bad all match. I mean, Michael Olise and Leroy Sané are 2 guys who like to cut in. Obviously, Muller and Tel also operate better in that same space. I mean, these guys are basically choking the life out of Harry Kane at times. There was multiple moments where players missed Kane, where Kane wasn't able to break through. People weren't passing it to him or were taking balls that were going to him. It was kind of a mess at times, and I'm starting to feel bad for Kane because he is getting visibly upset with players sometimes, and that's something that you never want to see, but I think it's totally understandable for him. I think it's totally just for Kane to be upset with some of these things because Bayern needs to feed him the ball. If they want to be the best that they can be, they're going to have to start feeding him the ball, and that just has not been happening. As this match started out, like I mentioned, Kimmich was kind of roaming everywhere. It was a back 3 at times with Kimmich, Kim, and Stanisic. Kimmich was also in the midfield with Pavlovic and also part of the attack. I thought that Sacha Boey did a nice job inverting up and kind of contributing to the attack. Boey actually was kind of the widest attacker. I'm doing quotation marks here, air quotes, attacker, because he was a defender but played in the attack at times. So I thought he did good there. I thought Stanisic did a really nice job of covering, a really nice job of getting back, especially for someone who's just coming back from injury, Sacha Boey as well. I thought Stanisic did a great job of tracking back, and a lot of times when you think, hey, maybe that should actually be Kim, back there as the last line of cover, it turned out it was Stanisic. So I think he kind of saved our butts a couple of times in this one. But yeah, as the match started off, Bayern saw some good chances. Like I said, the low block was really suffocating things in the box. And we finally saw the first goal happen. I shouldn't say finally because it was actually early on in the match, but we saw the first goal happen 8 minutes into the match. And it was a beautiful long cross into the box from Joshua Kimmich, and Thomas Muller was there. And he put the header really right on the money and kind of fooled the keeper, I think, in a way that only Muller does. So he's a guy who will add some creativity to the attack in terms of breaking down a low block. And he did it there with that goal. And like I said, just great cross in from Kimmich. They gave Kimmich too much space. He is extremely dangerous with really any amount of space, but especially if you're going to just form that low block and back off of Kimmich, he'll put a cross right in the box, right on the money, and sometimes he'll shoot and score from long range. So you really cannot give a guy like that space. But as the match wore on, we saw Bayern's attack become increasingly more aimless. And I think aimless is the best word to describe Bayern's attack in this match. They were getting some good shots off. Tel missed by a couple inches. Muller missed by a couple inches. Sané hit the crossbar, I think, twice. One time he hit the inside of the crossbar. And Bayern's attack was just chaotic. It was aimless and chaotic. And I think I got to put a lot of that on Vincent Kompany. It's not enough to just put all these attacking players forward. While, yes, they have so much talent, a lot of these guys like Sané, Coman, and Gnabry, who came on later, we'll talk about, are struggling right now for confidence. They're looking to shoot. I would include Tel in this group too. They're looking to shoot. They're not looking to pass, and they're really struggling to find themselves and find their game at the moment. So it's not enough tactically by Kompany to just throw all these guys forward and say, go do it. Go score a bunch of goals. Yes, it's enough to beat Slovan Bratislava, and it's enough to beat a lot of the lower table Bundesliga sides, but it's not enough to go far in this European competition, and it's not enough to beat teams like Leverkusen. I know I just went on a little bit of a diatribe there explaining how frustrated I am with his tactics, but I can't totally blame him because he is such a young coach, and I've been saying this all season long. Run it back, run the tape back, and listen to me talk about this all season long. He's such a young coach. He has never coached a squad like Bayern, who's playing these massive Champions League matches against the Man Cities of the world, who have, Pep Guardiola, insane, even against Barcelona with Hansi Flick. These guys who are just going to outcoach Kompany tactically. And sure, Bayern has so much immense talent that they're good enough to beat a lot of these teams on sheer talent alone, but that upper echelon of team, Bayern is not going to beat. As they stand right now, they're just not going to do it. And again, I think Bayern fans have to adjust their expectations a little bit in the Champions League, me included, because I see the talent that this team has, and I obviously think and want them to be able to beat anybody, but especially with the tactical naiveness of Vincent Kompany, you just have to adjust your expectations. And it's not all on Kompany either in his tactics. A lot of it is just on these players. Guys like Sané, guys like Coman, guys like Gnabry, they're just not creative enough to break down a low block right now. And the attack is just not on the same page. The defense makes a lot of foolish positioning errors. I truly think if you wanted to win the Champions League this season, you would have hired Hansi Flick. He's a guy who knows the locker room. He knows how to make this team hum. And he was there for the taking. He wanted to go for Bayern. Bayern's directors wanted to go in a new direction. And hey, that's maybe brave in its own right. I guess that's one way of looking at it. And we've seen Vincent Kompany have a lot of success in the Bundesliga, and I will never take that away from him. But if you, again, seriously want Champions League success this season, I don't think he's the guy. And, if you're willing to wait it out, if you're willing to give him more time and maybe build up the squad a little bit and plug some of these holes, maybe Bayern can become that team. So it's not all doom or gloom. I wouldn't sack Kompany today if I was the board, but I would start to really think about the long-term planning of the squad and of the coach a little bit more, because Bayern's in the midst of a bunch of contract negotiations right now of huge key players who are going to shape the next generation. Kimmich, Musiala, Davies. These guys aren't going to like these performances. All three of these guys want more than anything, even in the case of Kimmich and Musiala for sure, even more than money. What they want is the ability to compete in the Champions League. And right now, Bayern isn't there with this performance and the performance against Feyenoord last week. So, that, again, ring a few alarm bells. Be a little bit nervous. It's not throw in the towel for the season, but it's be a little bit weary and maybe lower your expectations in Europe a little bit. Now, back to the match. I guess I should finish out how things kind of closed out for the match. But in the 62nd minute, Vincent Kompany subbed on the trio of Coman, Musiala, and Gnabry. Sacha Boey, Thomas Muller, and Mathys Tel went out. And a minute of Musiala being into the match, he lays a beautiful assist up to Harry Kane, who just flies up, heads it in, buries it. A great goal by Kane and a great assist by Musiala. Bayern's up 2-0 at that point. But again, it doesn't feel like enough. And when you look at the UCL table, lo and behold, it wasn't enough. So, should Musiala have started? I don't know. If he's not healthy enough, then no. But, if you thought that this match wasn't really going to matter in the grand scheme of things, then maybe no. But, he comes on and makes an instant impact, so that's good to see. And then Bayern's third goal came in the 84th minute. Serge Gnabry had a nice shot that got deflected, and Kingsley Coman was there for the rebound, put it in, 3-0 Bayern at that point. But shortly after, Vincent Kompany did sub on Rafael Guerreiro for Josip Stanisic at that left back spot. Rafa Guerreiro has not been good at left back lately. I don't know what it is, because he was great at left back for Tuchel, and he's been okay at right back this year, but he just has not looked good the last couple matches at left back, and I'm seriously concerned about the Davies injury at this point. I don't think you can run Guerreiro out there, certainly not against Leverkusen, because, Guerreiro comes on, and in the 90th minute, Slovan Bratislava gets a goal back because of some poor positioning by Guerreiro. He kind of gets turned around, and, whoever it was on Slovan just puts a really nice shot in top bins. Very fast, very hard, top of the net, and Neuer doesn't really have a shot at saving that. Neuer earlier in the match actually had an incredible save. I'm talking point blank, super fast shot off to the side, and he reacts quick enough. I don't know, the defense fell asleep there again for a second, but Slovan really could have had that goal as well. So not the best day for Bayern Munich overall. Just weird, because it's weird to say that when they won 3-1. But I'm kind of just combining this with how they've looked since the break, really since the winter pause in their first match back against Gladbach up until now. Again, the results have been there. They've been getting wins, but they haven't looked good. They haven't looked like the world beaters that they need to be if they want to hold on to the Bundesliga and go far in the UCL tournament. So I think I'll just review a couple more players. It's really hard to give match awards for this one, just based on how discombobulated the team was, but also how many chances they were creating and how they were just holding possession for the whole match. So if I had to, I think I would give the man of the match to Kimmich, just because he was everywhere, and he was and is the heart and soul of this team. Again, defense, offense, midfield, he did it all. I'm giving the Robin to Harry Kane for that goal, although I could really give it to Thomas Muller as well, because both of them had some very nice goals in there. So Muller would be another player to shout out. The defense, I thought they all did fine except for Guerreiro when Guerreiro came in. Pavlovic in the midfield, didn't really talk about him, but he had a solid game. I think he's slowly getting back to the level that he was at in the beginning of the season before he broke his collarbone, when Kompany called him the best player on the team. He's not there yet, but his passing accuracy is still so good, and he's obviously a player that you need to have on this squad. The attackers outside of Kane and Muller missed too many chances. Olise was maybe the best of the bunch. Tel, I thought, did okay. Zane, I also thought, did okay. They both did some good things in creation, but also missed some chances that they probably should have buried. It was just weird. I thought Musiala, Coman, and Gnabry also all did fine when they came in. I mentioned Musiala laying that assist up right away. That was perfect, but he didn't make a ton of noise for the rest of the match, as you would have hoped. Same with Gnabry and Coman. So I think really the last thing I just want to mention is all this transfer stuff going on with Tel. because, we had heard that Tel was going to stay and fight for his spot on Bayern Munich, which, he loves the club. By all accounts, he's a great guy. He's super, super into these fan visits, and he always hangs around, before and after training with the fans. So this is a guy that loves Bayern. He learned German in 6 months just to be able to, be part of the team and part of the culture and part of the fans, communicate with the fans. So he's truly a guy who loves Bayern, but after 3 matches in a row where he didn't get any minutes, and he really should have got minutes, he decided that it's best for his development to leave Bayern. So we're going to see if it's on a loan, if it's on a permanent transfer. There's a ton of Premier League clubs, a ton of Bundesliga clubs interested. Chelsea's interested, of course, but who knows what his playing time would be like there. So it's, I guess, a moment where things are moving fast, but you don't exactly know what's going to happen with Tel. Kind of weird as well, the Kompany gave him the start today. Is that some sort of a signal? I don't know. I think the Kompany just wanted to throw some more attackers in there and then rest some other guys. So I think that's more so what happened, but I think it was maybe a little bit of a message as well. We're going to see what happens with Tel, but I'm really sad about it. He's a guy that I just personally love. I think as a guy, as a player, what his potential is. He hasn't been great this year when he's played for Bayern, but was outstanding last year. So it's a shame, and I really think that the mismanagement of Tel is probably one of the worst things, one of the darkest stains about Vincent Kompany's time so far at Bayern Munich. So, he just needed to get more minutes, and I just hope whatever happens next is what's going to be best for Tel as a guy, as a player. I hope he develops wherever that may be, whether that be Bayern or somewhere else. I hope he develops and becomes the star that I know he can be. So I think I'm going to leave it at that before I work myself up too much. But this is going to be it for this audio-only edition of the Always Bayern Chelsea show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. This one will be up there as audio only, but the video episodes will continue to roll. So, stay tuned. Help us get to 100 subscribers. We're going to have to do something special for that. So thank you for listening. As always, forever, Mia San Mia.